What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be changing out the front and rear diffs on this 2006 Mitsubishi Montero. First we're going to start by chalking off the wheel, because we're going to be putting it in neutral to make life easier for us. Here we have our front and rear diffs with the 4.9s. The ones in the car is 4.3. So first thing we're going to do after chalking the wheel, I'm going to jack the vehicle up. Okay, I had to put some bricks underneath my jack stand because of how high the vehicle lifts and how low the vehicle springs push down the Once you got your vehicle on your jack stands, go ahead and give it a good shove or move it around. Just make sure it doesn't come off. Alright, now that we make sure our car's not going to fall off the jack stands onto us while we're working underneath it, let's go ahead and prepare to get the tools that we need to get this rear differential out. I just figured out that I can actually turn the wheel without actually needing to put the vehicle in neutral. It'll stop the transmission from turning, but I can turn the wheels on the ground, so I guess it's good. I can save my battery life, because when I put my car in neutral, it won't let you turn the key out. Stay on accessory mode until I turn it off. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and remove the wheel. That was on there tight. I can tell you for sure that NTB did not use a torque stick on your wheel. At least it wasn't a discount tire. They would have stripped my lugs. Now, since I have jack stands, I'm going to roll the wheel out the way. But if you're at the junkyard, go ahead and put the wheel underneath the vehicle, because those tire stands that they make aren't very stable most of the time. And sometimes they have a vehicle on muddy ground. Last thing you want to have is a 5,000 pound SUV falling on top of you. Alright, so now here we have it. I'm going to grab my flashlight so I will show you better what we're going to be doing. Okay, got my flashlight. Definitely need to rebuild my CV axle on this one. It's leaking out fluid, but behind here, matter of fact, let me bring the camera to where I can see it. Alright, here we are. This is our CV axle right here, where it bolts into the carrier assembly. See, on the Monteros, you just got this pumpkin right here. It's not the whole entire axle. That's what's cool about it. So we're going to be unbolting these on both sides, and then we're going to come into the front and unbolt it from the carbon fiber drive shaft, and then we're going to remove this little, I'll call it guard, or maybe it's a, I forgot what it's called. It'll come back to me later. We're going to remove these two bolts back here. I had to remove my auxiliary fuel tank in order to gain clearance to it, and then we'll bring it down with a jack stand. Actually, matter of fact, before I get ahead of myself, there are two more bolts, one here and one here, that's blocked by this dampener. We're also going to take that off too as well. Once we remove that, then we get those two bolts and we can let it down. Now, some people, they'll undo here and here. That's also part of the member that holds up as well. But on this side, it's pointing at the fuel tank, so unless you're dropping a fuel tank, it's kind of easier to go from here, unless you want the whole carrier assembly too as well. So let me go ahead and grab my tools I need for a job, and we'll get started. So again, let's take off the other side. They did not use a torque stick. That I didn't like my car. Cool. Same thing on this side. You can almost see the bolts clear right here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it and we'll get a straight shot at it. Alright, we're back on the passenger side. We're gonna start on that side. Doesn't matter which side you start on, no, let's just get it done. Now, before we get started, it is easier if you have a buddy with you, because one person can hold a wrench on the back bolts while the other, you know, take them off. But sometimes if your impact spins fast enough, you can get it off without needing to hold it back, but you will have to hold it because of the lock notch behind it. Lock washer. You're gonna need a 17mm and a long extension if you're coming through this side. Alright. I'm gonna grab the camera. Get so you guys can see. Alright, so here's the underside of my filthy car. We're gonna take this off. Alright, there's gonna be a bolt and a lock washer. You want to save those. Don't lose them. Otherwise, you're gonna have your thing come undone on you while you're driving, and I don't think you want that, do you? Cool. And that's what you're doing. You're just gonna do this all around. These come out. You see how it's popping in and out? This will come out. And then maybe might have to give it a little tap or so. And this will let go from here. It's just a flange. It's just two faces on each other. Same thing with the front drive shaft coming off the back of the transfer case. All flanges. Nothing crazy. Alright guys, so I got a piece of copper pipe. This will be soft enough to not damage the threads, but give me a little leverage so I can turn this with some ease, okay? So let's go ahead and resume removing these bolts. Up a little bit. There we go. There we go. So all you're doing is remove one, turn one. Remove one, turn one. See if it's squirrely on it. There we go. There we go. I don't think I was on it squirrely. This is a trick. So obviously sometimes the bolts will get, the nuts will get stuck in here. This is the same exact pitch. Just put it on here and pull it out, take it off, and then put it to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and spin this. I'm just going to, oh, I can't spin it like this. I don't have enough hand strength to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove all the bolts out of the flange. Got the camera where I can see it. All we're going to do is just turn this. Watch your eyes because the dirt's going to get you. Go ahead and you see how that is moving now? It just releases just like that. Now of course now it's binding, so it's binding because now the bolts aren't holding all steady in one place. So now that last bolt's going to have some. There we go. Okay. Okay. Not quite what I was hoping for, but come on out. Don't be shy. But you guys get the gist, yeah? Okay. So the bolt's off. All right. Cool. So this side is complete, and then pretty much you can just shake this off and give it a good tug. I really wanted to get that bolt out. How do you guys know if a diff is open versus LSD? Well, easiest way is spin the tire. If one side spins counterclockwise and the other spins clockwise, that's an open. If they both spin the same direction, you got an LSD. Alright, we'll just use a freaking wrecking bar and force some space between it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, and that's all 6 of them. So now I'm gonna make sure I grab every single bolt and nut and then put them out to a good spot, and then we'll go on to the next step. This one's mine. Got like new ones. Oh, it came out. Great. This one's just stuck in there really well. Remember, anything can be hammered if you're brave enough. Ah, that includes your face too. But I wasn't hoping for that. Alright, where'd you go? Okay, so this flange is free. I'm just gonna go ahead and there we go. Where the other nut went? There you are, little bastard. Alright. Also, make sure you wear some safety goggles. Because the sand will get your eyes. How much more the bolt hurt you? Now, next step is we're gonna undo the carbon fiber drive shaft from the front of the carrier. Now, I don't know how strong carbon fiber drive shafts are. I've been doing research and I can't kind of find out what makes it so strong and how much abuse they can take. Either way, just know that a Montero's drive shaft is made out of carbon fiber, so don't go beating or hammering on it, because I don't know if it can take that abuse. Also, carbon fiber is very expensive. So however, with that being said, if you go to the junkyard and see one of those, why not grab it and keep it as a spare? For this next step, you scallywags, we now have to put the truck into neutral. Let's go ahead and come inside. Get the keys out of my pocket. Have to lock the steering wheel, so let me lift up a bit. Alright, so we're going to set the truck to neutral. This is why it's important you have your wheels chalked, because it's going to be neutral. I'm going to turn it off. Now the key's going to be stuck in there. So I'm going to leave the driver's window down. That way we don't have my keys locked in here just in case. Turn out the vehicle. And we're going underneath again. Now for this part, the reason why I put it in neutral is because now it makes it hella easy. So I can just grab my hands and I just spin that all day long. Makes it so much easier. We're going to remove each of these bolts. So we're going to need a 12mm and a 13mm. Let me go ahead and grab that real quick. Hey guys, I lied to you. We need 12mm wrench for the back side, and you're going to need a 14mm for the front side. You're going to want a 14, and you're going to want to swivel on the end, so that way you're not because the drive shaft will be in the way. All right. Now, what's going on with you now? Dead already? Hold on. Let me go grab battery. Thing died so quick. Wait a minute. Alright, I'm back. That being said, I'm at my house, so I mean I have a good number of batteries. But if you're at the junkyard, you best believe should bring you at least 2 batteries. Or one good full one. Because you don't necessarily need an impact, but it will definitely make life a lot easier. A lot easier. Wow, look at that. Almost like if you have battery power, shit happens. Alright. Don't lose your bolts. So, turn the next one. Actually, I don't even need to really put the thing on its back, but keep it with you just in case it does spin, because some of these will spin on you. Make sure my truck isn't moving or no one's trying to kill me by moving the chalk out the front wheel. See? Well, you probably can't see, but it did move a little bit. But this has enough spinning torque that it may or may not matter. But of course, if there's a little bit of tension on that bolt, it'll hold it. See how that goes back? See how it comes out? Save it to the side. Next! Okay. It's broken loose. I can spin by hand. And you're just doing that all around. Need to change the transmission mounts on here. A lot of movement up front. One more. Now, leave at least 1 or 2 of these bolts in here, because obviously if I remove all of them and left the last one and pull out, this will drop straight on my face or your partner, or you're not gonna have a good day. Alright guys, I'm going to use a hammer to tap these bolts out, but before I do that, you never ever want to just take your hammer and smash directly on his. You'll damage the threads. So what you'll do is you will take a nut and you thread it on there until it's just about a little above the surface of the freaking fastener itself, and you'll knock it back. Now the thing is, you don't want your fastener like this. If it looks like that, you'll still damage the thread. You want to make sure you have multiple threads. You want to engage as many threads as possible, but can you tell how the fastener itself is a sub-level to the bolt, the nuts? That's what you want to do. So again, we'll try this one more time. So we'll turn this. I'm going to leave that partly in there. We're going to do this one more time. So, put your nut on, thread it down as much as you can, tap it loose, take it off, and now, see how it's held in by rust? I don't know if you see that powder, but you can see, rust is a very good fastener too. No, it's not. Alright, let's do a little quick spin around, come back the other way. Take this out. The yoke come back, and now gently lay it down, and would you look at that, your carrier diff is nearly free. Next, we're going to start unbolting the carrier from the vehicle. Alright, come over here and look at this. First thing we're going to remove where my hand is, I wore orange gloves. One, so my hands get messy with all this grease, and two, is to help you see where things are. This is your damper. We're gonna remove these two bolts out of the way because there's a bolt right here that we're gonna need to move in order to get it down. Now again, if you're taking it by the mounts, the aluminum mounts here, you don't necessarily have to worry about that. But let's say you don't really want to drop your fuel tank, or you're just taking this itself, we'll be taking this bolt right here. So we're gonna remove the damper out the way. Alright, those two bolts are gonna be 17 millimeters. So get your extension and somewhere we can get at. Perfect. Now I'm going to finish them by hand. Here we go. Use one hand and support it. Honestly, you don't necessarily need to because it's a heavy bricky object. It doesn't necessarily need it, but let's practice good habits here. Also, just in case it bounces some weird way and then hits you, I'd rather take a bolt to the face than one of these. I will have a really bad day if this were to hit me. This is your damper. Here, let me aim the camera now. That's much better. So this is your damper that goes on the side of the carrier assembly. So it takes the vibrations and dampens them so you don't feel them through the vehicle. It's basically to reduce the NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness. Alright, so we'll start with the 7 millimeter on the inside. We're going to set that off to the side, along with the two bolts for the damper. I'm going to crack that loose. Now I'm going to come back here. There we are. Start with the inside. And I'm going to take this one off completely. Oops, it moved. Oh man. Now those clever little Mitsubishi engineers, they put it in such a way so it doesn't come plummeting straight down your face. Now you just take it down, and I'm going to set it out to the side. This bar will also help you to keep this captive, the pumpkin. So let's say you were to take all these bolts and this is coming straight down, this can also save you. Granted, the flange here would catch on the sway bar right here, but we're going to be using a jack to support the differential, so we'll get to that later on. So now that we got that through, next we're going to remove these two bolts here and the one right here. Let me make sure you guys can see. This camera stand is very cumbersome. So this is towards the front. So the way I'm doing it, I'm going to remove this bolt and this bolt. Now there's a nut on top, so we're going to be using, I think it's a 23 or 24. Yeah, I think it's a 24, but I will verify in a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and position the jack underneath the differential, so that way when we start undoing it, it doesn't fall straight down on the concrete or in your face. Okay, cool. Alright, next we're going to take out the two front bolts that holds the diff in place. As you can see, on the top we have a 22 millimeter nut up top, so I already got my wrench in place. Now for this one, if you have a really strong impact, great, but those two nuts are held in there very, very tight. So you may need to use a breaker bar on this one. So let me go ahead and worm my way back over there, and we'll get started. Maybe I shouldn't grab onto something that isn't secured properly. There we go. So right here is going to be a 22mm bolt, and on top is the 22mm nut. So I'm going to start with my impact. Maybe might get it off, maybe won't. Is that my 22? What is this? That's a 17. It'll help if I set the 22 on there. Oh, where are you? I put you around here somewhere. And I'm in a cumbersome spot. There it is. 22, there we go. All right. Okay. Came out with not too much of a problem. Now we're gonna do the other side. Let the feel for it. There it is. All right. So I need to use a breaker bar this time. All right. Now be mindful. There's a washer on there, so don't lose that. Alright, so we got the last 2 bolts over here. These are 24mm. You saw how that pumpkin just dropped? Because now you just did another thing. So I got my brother here, came by to give me a hand. So this will make life a little easier. Put that right up there. There it is. I'll use the gun for this one. There we go.
It's ready to drop down?
Yep. It's going to drop straight down. On the front, the sway bar is going to be in ways. It's going to catch that flange. All you have to do is pull back with it and let it down. Alright, we'll let it down.
Disconnected.
Oh, you got a disconnect? Oh, yeah. Cool. Works for me. Twist it over. There you go. All right. Look, you're halfway there. We got the differential out. Alright, now we're just going to swap them around. See what I say, when you have help, it makes life a lot easier. Now we're going to cart it underneath the car. We're going to go ahead and put this 4.9 differential in. Alright.
You gonna control it while I jack it or what?
Yeah. Perfect, that's good. All right, go ahead. So go in the back. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm just aim it upwards, and then I'm gonna get the flange over here, and then that'll hook on, and then we'll put them in the back. Go ahead, go ahead. Keep going. There we go.
That bolt hole is lining up right there.
Yeah. So get that one of those short bolts with the washer. Not sure where the hell it is. Okay, that's one. And see if you can't get it in there. You can get the front end now. So
Be careful. It's like you run the hands.
all right, got the front end. Where's the other bolt go? There it is.
Holding itself or what?
Yeah, so I got the front end.
Yeah.
Hold on, once and don't let it go just yet. All right, cool. Okay, I got it. So put like the flange like that and then spin it around and it'll kind of suck itself in. There you go. Yeah. And then spin the CV axle and it'll kind of rotate into the spot where you need to go. Got it? So watch me. So see how I got it? And then I'll just rotate it. And bam, there you go. So while my brother is stabilizing the CV axle in front, I'm gonna go ahead and put reconnect the drive shaft. the front of the carrier. So all you're doing is reversing the order. Now, pull it in, put a bolt through, take another one, put it through. So you see, having some help really makes things a lot smoother and stuff. So I don't need it for these next parts. So what we're doing is putting back the damper inside the thing, and then we're gonna put back the little sway bar and pretty much button everything back together in the front and the rear, and then we'll go on from there.
So again, 17 millimeter. You should actually get on the bolt. Actually, let's do another extension on here. That'll definitely help me. There we go.
Extensions are your best friend here. There we go. Alright. Now we're going to go underneath and put that sway bar back on. Before I can put the sway bar in, there's a right way and a wrong way to put this back. So if you're looking at it, you just kind of mock it up. So if you kind of look at it, it's kind of hard to get an angle. You see how you can tell how it's bending or so. Let me back up. Make sure the belly faces towards the front of the vehicle. If you put it back like so, it's going to hit the body of the differential over here. Let me see if I can't get it to where you can see. Pretty tight up here, and my thing doesn't lend itself anything. So, okay, here we go. You see how it is? No. Turn it around. Make sure there's ample space. Because obviously, when the differential in the car moves, you want space for it to move if need be. So now we're going to go back to securing the bolts. So we're going to go on both sides. We're going to start with the nuts. Come on the other side and do this. Now you can't see me on the other side, so I'm not going to move the camera around too much for this one, but I'm doing the exact same thing here. Starting the outboard side and then make my inboard. Alright, now we're going to go from inside out. Next, we come up here and plug our diff back in. Very careful not to break it. These things are pretty old. I mean, if you break it, you can always get a new one online on Partsuk or wherever you get your Mitsubishi parts from. But still, you don't want to break it because then water and dust will get in there. 24 millimeters. Would you look at that? And now our 4.9 hybrid LSD diffs are in now. Now let's just keep putting the car back together. Alright, so that's the rear done. So now I'm gonna spin the vehicle around and we're gonna do the fronts now. Alright, so next we're gonna do the front of the vehicle. Alright. So now we're gonna go ahead and do the front. So the driver's side is gonna be your complicated side because we're gonna have to take out the CV axle on this side because it's splined straight in there. The passenger side is pretty easy. Same thing like the back, you just spin it around. This one's locked. You spin it around and it's on both the 4 little bolts and nuts. I need to change this rotor just now. So this is the passenger side. This one's gonna be a little more difficult to get to because it's kind of well shielded. But same thing, there's gonna be 4. We're just gonna bolt them, and then CV axle will drop on this end, and then we're gonna do one here, the second bolt back there. Take out this what is this kind? This we'll call it a cross frame for now. I'll remember the name later, and we'll go from there. All right, so now I'm gonna take out the 4 bolts from the CV axle on the passenger side. Let's see, where's that? I'm gonna go ahead and use my freaking copper pipe here. Basically doing is just same thing like before. Spin around. And rinse and repeat to get all 4 off. There's 4 of them. This one's kind of easier to get to than the rears. Let me crush this. Oh, perfect. There we go. All right. Now we'll go ahead and come on this side. We're going to remove the drive shaft. Alright, let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Oh, you put on against the transmission? Yeah, smart move right there. Hold on. Cool. Now it's just we're gonna loosen it'll come out just like that. Now I'm gonna disconnect the vacuum lines, and then after that we'll take down this subframe, unbolt the 4 mounting points, and it'll come right down. And it's gonna be 2 12 millimeters. I think they're 12 or they're 14. We'll yeah, 2 12 millimeter bolts there. We'll take that off. Actually, we take those 2 12 millimeter bolts, we'd be able to wiggle that back down without even the need to move that. But if we have to, then so be it.
It's not a 12. 14 or a 916.
No, it's not United. It's Japanese. So 14 millimeters is not 12 millimeters. Yeah, basically what we're doing is we're unbolting the freaking rear left mount from the cross member. What we're gonna try and do is we're gonna try to bring down the differential without unbolting this. Easier.
Yeah, that works.
While he takes it out, I'm going to go ahead and mark and disconnect the vacuum line. That kind of like where it's warm. Careful, this is plastic. So. There.
There goes your vacuum.
Yep. That's the vacuum that keeps it in two-wheel drive. So now, if I were to start the car and try to drive off, it would try and engage into four-wheel drive. So the bottom one is for the freewheel clutch solenoid, and the other one is for the metal tab on the other side. Just for future reference. Actually, we'll try and leave this one alone. We'll leave this thing alone. So we'll do it on both the three. So right here, this one, and then this one right here. So what's probably going to happen is this thing can tip forward. you know, we can actually use back here to control it when we actually do to install the other one. Alright, before we move any further, we gotta take out this CV axle, so we're gonna have to disconnect everything like if we're gonna treat it like if you're gonna remove it out the way. So first we're gonna go do is pull off this cap to give us access to the CV axle nut on the end, because we're gonna have to remove it so we get it some play. Next I'm gonna get a pliers and I'm gonna pull the cotter key out the way. Go ahead and bend the cotter key out the way. Alright. Still a little bent. There we go. Pull the cotter key and set it to the side because we're going to need that again. The front's going to be a 32mm. Alright, I'm going to leave it on there so when I tap it back, we're not damaging the threads. Next, we're going to take off your tie rod end, and I'm going to undo the upper control arm. Basically, what I want to do is get this to swing so that way we can just pull the CV axle out. So next, go ahead and take off the nut that holds the tie rod in. First, we're going to remove the cotter key. And while I'm doing this, just be mindful of the brake housing, the backing. For whatever reason, these automotive engineers are sadistic and they love making these edges sharp as razors. This is going to be a 19mm, so we're going to break it loose, but we're not going to remove it all the way, because next we're going to take our hammer and tap on it to get it to release on it. So, leave it like that. Next. Oops, I didn't mean to hit that. There you go. So we're going to hit on the bottom of this, and you see it causes a drop. Now, I can take my nuts completely off. That's to show you how loose it is now. We'll take this off completely. And then bam. Now I'm going to put the nut back on because I want to protect it. It being the threads. I'm just going to have to change this sooner or later. Next I'm going to take this out of the way. We're going to remove the nut for the CV axle. Actually, before I do that, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to tap it back. So that tells me it's not binding, it's not seasoned there. Now I want to give it some slack because when I let this go, I don't want the brake lines to pull or break or put too much extra stress on there. So I'm going to go ahead and take off this little piece right here that holds the brake line steady. So you're going to wiggle it out. This holds the brake line captive, and now you're going to remove it by pulling it back and getting the line out the way. Now I'm going to take out the 3 bolts that holds the upper ball joint in. Now for this is unique to me, I have 2 10s and 1 12. It's supposed to be like 3 10s or 3 12s. I think it's 3 10s OEM bolts, but alright. Now be careful with your brake line because you don't want it to come loose and fall everywhere and rip. Take out the castle nut, save the washer. Now I'm just going to basically take out the CV axle. I'm going to bend it like this. There we go. Now that I got it out of its spot, let me point the other direction. Might be easier. While I'm here, let me take out the ABS sensor, so I don't want to damage the line. Okay, take that out of the way. Nice and loose. Let me see, there are two little things right here holding it down. I'm going to take out those tabs. So right here, there's two 12mm bolts that holds this tab that's giving us problems. I'm going to remove that out the way too. Here it is. Now we're going to try this again. We're just going to yank that out and it should come like. Now we can take out the differential. Alright, so before we get any further, when you pull out your CV axle, you are going to have a leak. So go ahead and take a few rags and stuff in his mouth, in the hole. Cool. We don't want that oil getting everywhere. Next, I'm gonna get this last vacuum hose off. These lines are freaking baked on there really well. So you're gonna take your little pliers and wiggle them up. I'm gonna slide them back. Or if you get frustrated, you can just cut it right off and put a new one too. But I don't want to do that because I want to drive the car. And it's coming off. There we go. There we go. So remember where your hoses go. Now it's time to pull down this differential. There are 4 bolts. One is right here. One is here, but we disconnected the 14mm, two 14mm holes on this side. One right here. And this is the 4th one. Now I'm going to take my jack and put it right underneath the diff to kind of help us bring it down. Alright, next we're going to remove the differential. So it's going to be above the crossmember arm, right next to the oil pan. So you see he has to wiggle it out to get it out. So he's kind of biting. But you see he got it out. Last one is right here. We're going to take that one out. That's one holding all the pressure. Once we take it out, I'm going to hold it on that side so that way it doesn't drop. Hold up on this side so that way it doesn't drop straight on you. Okay. Actually, hold on. Don't pull that one just yet. I just remembered something. We got a freaking. Let me disconnect this line right here. Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go. There we go. So before I forget, on the right side by the vacuum tube, disconnect the freewheel clutch switch, because if you don't, it's going to rip it right out. Now we can pull it out. Nice. As you see, it's coming down nice and easy. I'm gonna pull it back. Stop that. Hold on, what's the catch on back there?
The motor mount.
The motor by itself, or that little. Take off that lower mount. That nut you see right there. You see it?
Oh, the one.
Yeah. Take that one off. That'll probably give us enough clearance for it to drop down, and then it won't intrude anymore. So what we're doing is we're taking off that lower mount that's on the left rear, because when we leave it on, it leaves a lot of adds like 4 inches, and the 4 inch Hold on. What you taking off? This right here.
Hmm?
Yeah, this right here.
You want to take that off?
Yeah, take that off and they'll let it go, and then we'll have enough clearance to get it off. Cool. Now you should probably pull that out of the way. Yep. Go ahead and wiggle it out, and now we probably should drop it down enough that we can get it off the freaking. Alright, I'm gonna pull it back. Let it down. And it's disgusting. Alright, I should be able to pick it up from here. Remove this mount and pull out the weight, and they'll give you a couple inches, and that's enough for it to prevent the flange from the drive shaft from catching. We'll do the same thing. This one, we'll stick a rag in there. So we'll do the exact same thing, drip everywhere. Take the new one, I'm gonna stick a rag in here. Now, all we're gonna do is go in reverse. Try to get the flange on top of there. Yeah. Aim it up. I'm gonna hold it back so it's sliding more from you. Alright. I'm gonna pull it back. Right back from the rear.
Hold it right there.
Alright.
I'm gonna have to get that up some more on the back.
Alright.
Get the jack up some more.
Okay.
Alright. Okay.
I'm going to slide over and get the CV axle on that side in if you can. I'll pump up this so it holds. Once you get the CV axle lined up with the passenger side of the differential, use your bolt and washer and get it in, so that way it doesn't fall on you. We'll get that in so that way that'll help us keep the differential in place. I'm missing a freaking lock washer. I don't know where the heck it went.
Probably rolled out somewhere.
Yeah, it can't be too far.
Probably in my pocket again, like that razor.
Yep, maybe. It's not a big deal because I think I have some in that box.
That'll be wrong. Okay.
That's also why a good thing too. If you're at the junkyard and taking these parts, take all the bolts you can. You probably know that already. So, like, see, I lost the freaking washer. No problem. Let's go get another one. So here's from when I was taking the differentials off that 2001 XLS. Look at all these bolts. This one might fit as well. Put that on there. And it works perfectly. Go ahead and put that nut on. Tighten it in. Someone decides to call me in the middle. Nope, we are filming. Call me back later. Alright. And your CV axle passenger side in. So we're going to leave it loosely in there so we can manipulate the...
So we can put it back in place.
Yes, correct. Because I forgot the words what the hell I was going to say. Alright. How much you need to know back here?
Let's start with just going straight up.
And put this back in here.
Yeah, well, let's get it lined up first. We got the... It really needs to go to the left.
Yeah, off center. Where's that freaking wrecking bar at? There you go. That one's in. Well,
there you go.
looks like I got it biting ends.
And I thought the back was kind of easy too, but this one's even easier.
Yeah.
At least putting it in, I'm not taking it out with something else.
And it's a lot easier when you have a second hand to give you a hand.
Okay.
And then you got one at back on top of the over the cross member. Here's a breaker bar if you need to put any leverage. There you go. Gotta go ahead and put back this mount in. Now don't tighten it all the way down because I still gotta get the back in.
Is it still not lining up?
We're getting back the mount in place right here. So get the bolts in for the top one first, where my used to be orange fingers were, and then put these in because you can actually twist them around if need be. And then now that we have this in, it's tightened. This will be basically everything. We're going to go ahead and tighten the last 3 ones, and that's going to be diff. So that's a new way of getting your differential out without needing to remove this cross member. Will it make it easier? Yeah, but to save you a little time, that's a new way. Now let's go ahead and tighten back up the 3 bolts to hold the diff in. Alright, when you put back your carter key in, you want to make sure everything's lined up. Now, this doesn't matter, you can tighten it down. Also, you don't over tighten it, but you're probably going to break it. But depending on what it is, sometimes you have bearings and sometimes there's a spec. So make sure you check and make sure you're on the right spec, because if you over tighten your castle nut, you will have issues with your wheels turning and you'll burn up your bearing real quick. Just food for thought. So we'll go ahead and install our carter key. I'm going to put it this way in, push it down. Where's my pliers at? I didn't want those big ass ones, but we'll make do. There we go. Put your carter key in. Let's twist it up. There you go. Reinstall our freaking hubcap. Tap it in, and you're good to go. Now go ahead and tighten back up our castle nut on our outer tie rod. Same thing. You don't want to over tighten it, but you want to make sure that holes line up. So just a little more. A little more. Good. Take a cotter key, stick it through, bend it up, finish it off with my pliers. Where's my hammer? I just had you.
Oh, the red one?
No, not the red, not the hammer. I just had it. There it is. Alright. Tap that down so it doesn't scratch the hell out of you in case you stick your hand back here, and voila. Now we'll take our brake lines, show you how to reinstall them back in. So here's our line. You're going to take it in. You can come here, thread it through. Well, slip it through. Take back your clip. Now, what you're going to do is make sure the lip faces outboard. You're just going to push it in there. Tap it in. And you're back in. Cool. Just make sure I'm in all the way. And we just kind of, a little OCD here, even though I don't really have it, I'm just going to twist it just to the right. There we go. Now it's nice and flush. And there you have it. Everything's put back together. Brake lines are in. Let me re-secure my ABS sensor because we do not want that braking. You don't want your ABS sensor break because they're not making these anymore. I've checked the NTK website. They stopped making them. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and reconnect the... Sorry. We're gonna torque down the bolts to the drive shaft. Now, as long as you're not in 4-wheel high or any other thing than 2-wheel drive, you should be able to spin the front by your hands without needing to put the transmission in neutral. Okay, so 14mm is going to be a nuts, and then the back you're going to need a 12. Spin the drive shaft. I'm going to put a swivel on here so that way I can actually get it on there without too much fuss. Come on. There we go. Spin the wheel of misfortune, if there's any. Dirt from the engine tastes so good. You guys should try them, especially if you have them with milk and cookies. Last one. Nice and tight. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and plug back in the hoses for the vacuum hoses for a differential. First, let me get into a good spot where I can see what the hell I'm doing. You can't really see it, but I have a short one right here. It's going to be this forefront at the top. This connects into the top of the vacuum tank on your differential. Now I got two hoses here. The top one goes over here to the metal nipple, and this top one, the one wiggling, so that's going to be bottom, sorry. This one goes to that nipple. Make sure you guys take a picture of it, because I didn't. You don't want to be like me and having second guessing yourself about which one goes where. Or look at, if you do get confused and you did forget to take a picture before I do activate this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go check check a pictorial diagram and make sure I'm correct. Let's see. Yep, so that one goes there and this one goes here. The fourth one right here is going to be the very last one. Let me find out where it went. Here it is. This is the fourth one that connects. That's the breather tube. We're just going to go ahead and slide that in. Push it in there, wiggle it on, and then come up here where my hand is at. I'm going to make sure that my freewheel clutch solenoid switch is plugged in. There's actually right here on the side of the vacuum canister a place for the hoses to go. Now I can plug it in. So right here there's two slots to hold the hoses in place, so that way the hoses aren't dangling needlessly, and therefore we can reduce the risk of it snagging and getting ripped out. Because if those vacuum hoses rip, you're not going to have, actually you will be stuck in 4-wheel drive, because by default Mitsubishi Monteros are 4-wheel drive vehicles, but you will have to apply vacuum in order to put the vehicle in 2-wheel drive. So there you have it. That's how you change out your front and rear differentials on the 1999 to 2007 Gen 3 Mitsubishi Montero. If you enjoyed the channel, like, subscribe, and if you have any questions, leave in the comments below.